Hey, how's it going, guys? Mr. Boss for the win here, and in today's Red Dead Redemption 2 video, we're going to be talking about Uncle's secret identity. And is he actually the legendary gunslinger Red Harlow from the first Red Dead game? Okay, so before we can get started, we need to talk about who Red Harlow is, because I'm sure there's going to be a handful of you guys watching this video that have no idea who that is. So Red Harlow is the main protagonist and primary playable character of Red Dead Revolver, the first Red Dead game, and probably the least known just because of when it came out. Now, a little bit of background on Red Harlow. He is the only known son of Nate Harlow, a gold miner, and his wife, Falling Star. And through his mother, he is a descendant of the Red Wolf Native Americans tribe, and one of the grandchildren of Running Moon, the tribe's current chief. Now, I'm not going to go over Red Harlow's entire story, but essentially when he was young, his father and mother were killed by a pair of outlaws and bandits. And Red actually confronts the killer and their leader, Darren. And as Darren mocks Red's father and mother, Red Harlow grabs his father's revolver, which is engulfed in flames, and shoots Darren's left arm, severing it. The molten metal of the revolver would scar Red Harlow's right hand palm. And essentially after that, he would grow up to become an experienced gunslinger and a dreaded bounty hunter. Now, that moment where he gets revenge on his father's killer is important. He takes a revolver, he shoots one bullet, and he ends up hurting this infamous bandit leader. And many people called him the one-shot kid. Now again, we're not going to go over all the details of his life, but it is unknown what happened to his story after Red Dead Revolver. According to the official Wikipedia page, it says where Red went after this story and the rest of his life is unknown and untold. So we don't know if he's still alive, or we don't know what happened to him after Red Dead Revolver. And in case you guys are wondering where it takes place, Red Dead Revolver is set in the 1880s. So that means it would be roughly a couple of years before Red Dead Redemption 2 takes place. Maybe like 10, 11, 12 years. Just something to keep in mind right there. Now, since the release of Red Dead Revolver, Red Harlow has actually never appeared in another Red Dead title. Not in Red Dead Redemption and not in Red Dead Redemption 2. However, he is mentioned several times throughout campfire stories that you can actually listen to, both in Red Dead Redemption and in Red Dead Redemption 2.
You a bounty hunter, mister?
I have been. Why?
No offense, I just know the type. I done some myself a couple years back. Like most things in life, it don't live up to the billing. And my brother, he's dead now, but he used to tell me stories about Red Harlow.
Yep.
Yep, you probably heard of him. Legendary bounty hunter bringing the savage outlaws of the frontier to justice. A man who watched his parents get murdered in front of him as a boy, but who uses that pain to become a better man and ultimately to wreak his vengeance. I don't know. Bounty hunting never felt like that to me. Nothing heroic about riding for 3 days to turn in some low-down chicken thief. Nothing easy in this life, so I can't sit around all day.
This country used to be built of sterner stuff than it is today. Only 30 years back, there was men here in these parts would stand up to authority.
Very good, very good.
You heard of that Red Harlow fella? He was one of those men. Stood up to every man who blocked his path, Mexican army included. Nearly cost him his life, but he did.
Unglaublich.
You never know who's listening out there, do you?
So even though he never actually appears in any of these titles, and specifically Red Dead Redemption 2, which would have been a little bit closer to when his story took place, the only time we actually hear of him is in tales told by campfire encounters. And the tales of him are basically this incredible bounty hunter that was super feared by a lot of people. Now, the reason this story of Red Harlow suddenly became interesting was because of the PC version of Red Dead Redemption 2. One of the characters that you can actually spawn in has the name Red Harlow. So using an in-game trainer, if we actually change the model of our character, you can see here that it's U_M_M story Red Harlow 01. And when people discovered this in the files, they figured that the legendary bounty hunter and gunslinger Red Harlow might have actually just been hidden within the files of the game. However, as we spawn him in, you'll notice that Red Harlow is not the legendary gunslinger from the first Red Dead title, but is instead the guy who actually tells us the story about Red Harlow in Red Dead Redemption 2. It's the same guy that can be found by the campfire. So I guess Rockstar just got a little bit lazy with the naming of this character, and they didn't call him like, generic male or campfire male, but instead named him specifically Red Harlow, I guess based off of the story that he actually tells. So with all of that information right there, it's safe to assume that Red Harlow could be dead. He also could be alive. There aren't any clues that suggest he's one or the other. And how his fate goes in Red Dead Redemption 2, I guess, is still going to remain a mystery. Now, one of the more interesting theories surrounding Red Harlow, especially after the release of Red Dead Redemption 2, is that Red Harlow is actually Uncle. And when I first heard this theory, I was definitely a little bit skeptical because you don't think of Uncle as like a legendary gunslinger and a bounty hunter. You sort of just kind of see him as a funny freeloader that hangs out with the Vanderlyn gang and then ends up living with John Marston in Red Dead Redemption. However, there are a couple of interesting things about Uncle that suggest he might be tied to Red Harlow. The first is a very interesting nickname that he was apparently called when he was a young kid. And he actually explains this in one of the first missions that you can do in Chapter 2.
Bear's always on the right. Sure you can pick up some bounties there, Arthur.
Heaven forbid you put your head on the line.
Yeah, that's a young man's game.
So that's how you see yourself, is it? A maniac?
Well, in my youth, I used to be known as the one-shot kid.
Okay. I'm not gonna ask why.
So as you heard there, when Uncle was a kid and when he was talking about bounties, he was specifically called the one-shot kid, which is very similar to Red Harlow's story of taking his father's revolver from the fire and ending up injuring the killer of his mother and father, which ultimately earned him the title of the one-shot kid. So that is an interesting comparison right there. I wonder if Rockstar just did that as an Easter egg or if there's a better comparison here. Now, the only problem with that is the age gap here. Now, we don't know how old Uncle is in Red Dead Redemption 2, but he's certainly not a young man. In fact, really the only time in which the gang talks about Uncle's age is in a side mission that you can do in Chapter 4, where Arthur can actually go rustle some cattle with Uncle, and he will reveal this.
I mean, that ain't gonna do your health no good if they find out you ride with us.
Nah, it's fine. I was never there at the same time as you boys, and they'd never reckon on a distinguished old feller like me running with a bunch of reprobates.
Well, just be careful. Yep. How old are you, anyway?
Well, let's just say I was born sometime between the fall of '49 and the fall of Rome. And my second wife always used to describe me as ageless, though she did leave me for a younger man.
Maybe we should cut you open and count the rings of whiskey.
Now, I'm ready for my retirement, though. Let me tell you.
You've been pretty much retired from the moment I met you.
I mean the tropics, the real deal. What Dutch is talking about. That's why I jumped on this opportunity. The sooner we get enough money to leave, the better. Dancing girls with flowers in their hair, warm sand, cold beer. That's how I'm gonna see out my days.
Well, I'll believe it when I see it.
So even in that mission, Uncle wasn't very specific about his age. He said he was, born between the fall of '49 and the fall of Rome, whatever that's supposed to mean. So I think the age gap here is obviously too different for Uncle to actually be Red Harlow. He's also lacking a lot of features that Red Harlow has, which are some iconic scars across his face. And you would assume that if Uncle was Red Harlow, he would have those distinct scars, just like how John Marston has his distinct scars in Red Dead Redemption 2 and in Red Dead Redemption. So unfortunately, I just think there's one too many differences here for him to be Red Harlow, but it definitely wouldn't be surprising if there was some connection here, especially with the weird things that Uncle says about being the one-shot kid. Maybe he knew about the tale and he just, gave himself that own nickname, which would have been kind of weird, but who knows? Uncle's a strange character. Maybe that's just the sort of thing he does. But anyways, that right there is the mystery of the legendary bounty hunter Red Harlow in Red Dead Redemption 2, and how it might actually be Uncle's secret identity. I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments down below. What do you think of this? Do you think Uncle is Red Harlow? What do you think happened to Red Harlow? Let me know your thoughts, opinions, and more in the comments down below. If you guys did go on to enjoy this video, though, a like rating would, of course, be awesome. And be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new. You want to stay up to date on all the latest Red Dead Redemption and GTA videos that I'm doing here on my channel. And be sure to ring that notification bell as well. Sometimes YouTube just doesn't work, and if you ring that bell, you'll always be guaranteed to be notified when new videos arrive. But of course, as always, guys, thank you all so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.